Hello and welcome to our April Global College Spotlight of 2026. Each month, we bring you a curated look at international education options where students can earn a full undergraduate or graduate degree entirely in English. This year, we are turning our attention to universities across Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, three countries with strong academic traditions and a lot to offer international students. Today's featured university is one I have been genuinely looking forward to sharing with you. Leuphana University, located in the charming university town of Lüneburg, just a short distance from Hamburg, is not your typical German public university, but that's exactly what makes it so special. Leuphana University offers a range of bachelor's degrees taught entirely in English, and it is one of the very few public universities in Germany with a distinct liberal arts program. All bachelor's degrees share an interdisciplinary foundation, something that is still considered unique in the German public university landscape. And that means that every student from day one is encouraged to think across disciplines, connect ideas, and engage with the bigger picture. As always, today's Global College Spotlight is brought to you by Global College Advisors. And just in case you are new to our Global College Spotlights, my name is Cornelia Betschart-Fortes. I'm the founder of Global College Advisors, and I'm excited to be your host today. So before we learn more about Leuphana University in Lüneburg, I would like to introduce you to Dr. Michaela Wieand. Michaela is the managing director of Leuphana College, which is the undergraduate college of Leuphana University. And she has been instrumental in shaping the university's innovative undergraduate model. She puts a strong focus on interdisciplinary learning and student development and believes that training people in an interdisciplinary way will support them in adapting better to a world that is constantly changing. Thank you so much for being here with us, Michaela. I'm really looking forward to your presentation today. I'll stop sharing my screen and hand the presentation over to you.
Thank you so much for having me today. I'm very happy to be here, and hello to everyone. Please let me share my screen. This will just take a few seconds, I hope, and then I can tell you more about Leuphana University. I'm very happy to present this and to bring you more information. So what you see here on my first slide is our central building, which is designed by famous architect Daniel Liebeskind, and it's at the very core of the university. Here you find a lot of seminar rooms and a big lecture hall, and also our cafeteria. This is very lovely. The rest of the campus looks a little bit different. You'll see later. So my next slide. So I tell you a little bit about the bachelor's studies in Lüneburg. So Lüneburg is a little town, as Cornelia just said, close to Hamburg. So it's in the north of Germany. I will tell a little bit more about that in this part here, Leuphana University, so that you can see where it's located exactly, and also say something about the campus and studying abroad. But first of all, I will share with you some important information about our bachelor studies and also about the application and admissions process, which is very important if you would like to join us. So, bachelor studies at Leuphana Universities. Okay, first question: what is about the model, the study model that we have, and what makes it so special? What you already mentioned, Cornelia. So we have a focus on disciplinary and interdisciplinary skills. What does that mean? So this means that all students, that all students have the foundation, the Leuphana Semester, which you can see here in the graph at the bottom, is the start of your studies. And there you have three modules that are interdisciplinary, and two that are subject specific. So that means that you study together with the whole incoming students, be it people from law or teachers training or psychology or economics in one class. And this also means that we have a common view on methods, on AI literacy, and also on transformation and societal development. So this is part one of the interdisciplinary liberal arts part. And then we have the complementary studies, which you can see here. I try to do it in a way so it doesn't switch. So the complementary studies means that you have a set of modules that you study besides your major and your minor, so that you are able to see a little bit or think a little bit out of the box. So that's the study module. So, but what can you study here? So I will share with you now the programs. Oh yeah, so it works. I marked the English-speaking programs in yellow so that you can see them right ahead. What you can see here is the minors. So there's a variety of programs that you can study in English entirely. So that means that you don't have to know any German for this. So this is cultural studies, digital media, global environmental and sustainability science, psychology, international business administration, political science, economics, and individual studies, where you pick from all other subjects your study path and design your own study path. So this is liberal arts at a new level, where you have the full range of all subjects, but you have to do some core modules. So this is the program, and can design it entirely for you with your specific professional project in the background, or research project, whatever you want to do. The major means that you have to do a big amount of ECTS, so study points in this part. And then in the minor, it's a little bit less, so it's 30 study points, and there is also a big variety of subjects. So we started, for example, our highlights in 25, 26, entrepreneurship and artificial intelligence. And there is also something like law and the future society, which we're starting in winter semester 26, 27. So very new. So this is what you can study subject-wise, and this is a little bit information on the Leuphana semester that lays the initial context and interdisciplinary foundations. This is your first semester, where you have, as you can see here, 3 modules that you study together with subjects like transformation, data, so it's called Data X, but we call it from next semester on AI literacy, where you learn a little bit of programming, but more of all the foundations of AI, which is very important, as you will need this for your future. This is something that all students that start at Leuphana University have to do, and they are studying it together, same as with methods. So when we come to research methods, as you can see, there are 2 modules called methods, because one is interdisciplinary and for all the students, so it goes across all the subjects, and the other one is subject specific. So that means that you have the broad overview over everything, and then you deep dive in your subject specific module, be it political science or economics or psychology. And then you have the introduction to the fundamentals of the majors. So this is something as for a start. With your minor, you'd study from semester 2. So the first year or the first semester is all about starting and about getting the initial contextual foundation. So what's also special about Leuphana is that we have an opening week that takes 10 days. So it's not exactly a week, it's a little bit longer. So we start from 1st of October and then it's going until October 11th. And as you can see here, it's so in 2024, it was intelligence. Last year, it was cooperating. And this year, I don't know if the subject is already clear yet entirely. I don't want to say too much, but you can follow us on the webpage, and there it will be announced what the focus topic is. So, and this means that all students work together. So all incoming students work together for 1 week on this subject and have this academic project, their first academic project. So it's not all about getting to know each others and have fun, but also about academic working and also presenting your academic results during the opening week, and then work further maybe on this topic during the semester and present it during the conference week at the end of the semester. So this is very unique and special as for the first semester, because you will learn a lot about working together, teamwork, and also how to do an academic project in a team. So this is a little bit also about the opening week. These were all the topics that we had during the last year. We do this for almost 20 years. So next year in 27, I think we have the 20th university anniversary. So what you can see here is just a little fraction of it. There are many more topics that we covered during that time. So from semester 2, as I already said, there will be your complementary studies as part of or as a complement to the major and minor programs, offering interdisciplinary perspectives. So unfortunately, the topics are just set on the graphic in German, but I can just translate it for you. So this means the economy and innovation. This is digital and technology. This is individual and society, arts and communication, nature and environment, and norms/ethics maybe, and identity. And the complementary studies means that you sit together in seminars with students from all subjects and from all semesters. So this is sometimes a very challenging work environment, but be sure that you will learn a lot, because your fellow students may be way more experienced than you, and then also study different subjects, and then you can discuss together and bring everything on a new level. So you will work on interdisciplinary tasks and engage with very different scientific topics. So the range of topics and subjects from the seminars in this part of your study is very broad. So you can choose whether you want to study more alongside your main subjects, or if you want to do something entirely different. So maybe try something new. So if you, for example, have economics in your major and maybe entrepreneurship in your minor, then you may want to do something different than business or economy and have very different things, and maybe pick something about culture or sports or something very different, arts, psychology, whatever comes to your mind. And this is a very unique opportunity for our students to gain insights in many topics if they want. So the promise is that you have a lot to discover, and that you have the opportunity to do it as part of your studies with credit points, and also bring everything together and enrich your own subject with this. So apart from that, you can be sure later on, when you will start working in the labor market or as a researcher, whatever you want to do, you will need to discuss with people that studied something different than yourself, and also work together with people with complete different perspectives and opinions. So this will help you a lot to find your pathway in a very complex world that is becoming more complex every day, as I feel. So what you can see is we are system accredited, which means that we have internal audits for our study programs regularly. So there is evaluation of the programs, and we are also accredited by the German government. Otherwise, we wouldn't be allowed to do the system accreditation, so to say. So you can be sure that everything that we do has a very high quality, and that there is an advisory board and external advisors in order to make sure that everything is according to all the standards that we are meeting. And since last year, we are also AACSB accredited, at least the School of Management and Technology and all the business programs. So this is also very interesting, I think, for our international students that we have this accreditation so that you can be sure that we belong to the top 6% of globally recognized business schools. I would go to the next topic, application and admissions for bachelor programs. Okay, so the application and admission process for the bachelor. So if you would like to apply to us, there's 4 steps. First of all, you have to check the entry requirements. Then you have to understand the admissions process, which is very important, as there are 2 ways to come to us, depending on where you come from. And then you got to prove your language proficiency and apply online. First of all, you need to check your requirements. What is that, or the entry requirements? What does that mean? So there is a thing in Germany that is called University Entrance Qualification, the so-called Hochschulzugangsberechtigung. If you can pronounce this without any mistakes, your German is on a very high level already. So I can say, so the so-called HZB. This is required in order to study at Leuphana, but not only to study at Leuphana, but to study at any German university. So you need something like that. And this is a degree that qualifies students for a course of study, which means, which entails the German Abitur, which is the German A-levels, the IB diploma, the European Baccalaureate, and secondary school leaving certificates. So you may ask yourself, okay, which ones? And this is where you have to check. You have to check whether you are qualified to study in Germany. Usually you check this with Uni Assist, or I think there are some pages in My German University or DAAD in order to find out. And if you did one of the assessment tests at a Studienkolleg in Germany, then you are also qualified to enter a German university, and so also Leuphana. Language proficiency, of course, depending on the chosen major, students must demonstrate proficiency in German for the German-speaking programs, and then in English, if you want to join an English-speaking program. Of course, otherwise you wouldn't be able to follow it academically. Makes sense a little bit, at least. So what does that mean for the IB diploma? So the International Baccalaureate is recognized as a university entrance qualification if it has been obtained after attending at least 12 years of full-time education and if the following requirements are met. This is something that is coming from the German law and government. So this is not something we are able to change as a public university. So we've got to live with that. And unfortunately, you have to do it too. And check whether you are eligible with your IB diploma to study with us. A little bit the same with your A-level diplomas. So with your educational background, you qualify for direct subject restricted admission to all higher education institutions, provided that the advanced level can be proven by certificates from following examination bodies. This is the list that is valid at the moment. Maybe this will change later on or something, but if you are if this is something for you, valid for you, you need to check that if this meets your requirements, or if you're meeting the requirements, so to say. What I always have to say here is that there is a 5% admission quota for non-EU students, which means that we are officially not allowed to take on more than 5% non-EU students in the bachelors. This is very different with the masters. For the masters, there's no restriction at all. But for the bachelor, the German government gives us some restrictions here. But if a program is not so much demanded by Germans or EU students, then there is a good chance for non-EU students to get in. So this is something where everyone asks me, okay, but how do I know which program is that? And I just have to say, this is something that is a little bit different each year, and we cannot really say. So if you're interested to study with us, you just need to apply, and then we see at the end of the application process whether you succeeded or not. I'm very sorry to say that, but this holds for most of the German universities because it's very difficult to say. You never know how many demand you will have for a study program. I mean, of course, there's psychology and environmental studies, which is very highly demanded, where we have a lot of applications, but the other programs, I would say, differs a little bit. Some are smaller, some are bigger. For some, we are able to give more study places than for others. So this is something, just give it a try. As for US diploma, there is a similarly long list about the requirements, as you can say. And I would say just check it out on the websites, which one is valid for you. Because as you can see here, it's kind of a little bit complicated. Here is the Uni Assist link, as you can see, because they give very, very detailed requirements about what is valid for which year. And again, 5% admission quota. So how does the admission process work? So as we see it here, so in other schools or universities, it is just said that they want to take the best, and that you have to have the best grades and everything in order to get in. But here, I would say, as a public university, we want to have a fair, transparent, and objective multi-stage process, which means that grades are very important, as you can see here, because the grade of the university entrance qualification is for the best quota, it's 30%, but the other 70% is advanced and special quotas, waiting quota. I will just say on one of the next slides what that is, and then the main quota with 40%, where you can bring in on the table extracurricular achievements and the study skill test or study aptitude test, and maybe a selection interview in order to bring you up in the ranking. And speaking of the ranking, so how does that work? We take your university entrance qualification, and just let me show it here. And then you may have, I don't know, this is the grade and how it's counted, how much it counts. So maybe you have a 1.7, and then you have 23 points. But if you have some extracurricular achievements, or if you have the study skill test, it is counted to your 23 points, and then it brings you up the ladder to here, this position, 27 points. And then you would have a way better chance to get in. So this is something that you have to know. So we just not only see your grades, but also what you did on the side. So what does the 5% quota mean, and what are all these advanced and special quotas that we also have? There is second degree studies, second degree candidates that come with a second degree. This is just a very German thing. And if you don't have A levels or anything else, but just a professional qualification, you have a certain amount of years of your professional qualification in Germany with a so-called Ausbildungsabschluss, so like if you did, an apprenticeship, then you are also able to enter university. And this is not just with us the case, but also for other German universities. This is it. So this is what you need to know. So these are legal quotas, so we cannot change them. This is what that means. We have to take this into account. So as a non-EU students, you count in this 5% university entrance qualification from non-EU countries in the undergraduate studies. So different for the masters. So I would say in the masters, we have a share of 40% of non-EU students, just to be clear here. So what does that mean with regards for EU applicants? So people coming from the European Union, Germany accepts all A-levels from European countries as similar to the German or as equivalent to the German Abitur, which basically mean that you just apply like any German student on the website without any further. Of course, your application is assessed as any German application is assessed, so it's the same procedure. And here, as also in as for non-Europeans, it's also valid. You have the opportunity to take onto the table the extracurricular activities, which means playing a musical instrument, doing a high level of sports, or having done an internship, years abroad. There is a whole list which you can also find on our website, what counts in and what not. And if you are not so sure where you are here on the ranking, you can do the aptitude test or a study skill test, as we call it. We offer several dates for that, where you can come here and do that, but you can also do it online. And you can get maximum of 5 points in order to bring you up the ranking. But if you are, for example, so to say, if you are already in this section and you would like to study or apply for psychology, which is highly demanded, I would definitely recommend you to do the test in order to get the rest of the points to bring you up the ladder a little bit more. So that's just it. And if you are round down here, I would do it anyways.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you cannot lose anything. We don't count in any results that are not so good. We just take the points that you have. So, and it's not noted anywhere if your test scores were not good or not as good as to get my maximum of 5 points. So you have nothing to lose.
One question here for the extracurricular activities, since you basically say in the top of the slide that it's for EU applicants. Will you consider any extracurricular activities also from international students?
Yes, I think so. I'm very sure that this is the case.
Okay.
It's not just so for the internationals for the non-European applications, Uni Assist only checks whether an application is valid. So if it's accepted by the German system, so to say, and then we get it and we will check for the rest.
Oh, I see.
In order to put it on the scale of the ranking. So that's basically how it works. Yeah. Okay. Because if we wouldn't do that, it would not be an equal treatment. And we are very sensitive to that. So yes. That's just it. And as you can see here, there's also the optional test, a study aptitude test you can do. And then you have special circumstances with maximum of 3 points. So and there is obviously, so on the webpage, you will see the Leuphana grade converter. So what else is important is, okay, let me just check. German top majors, English proficiency. I think this is not so important for this crowd here. But as you can see, even if you would like to study in a German top major, you would have to bring some English proficiency at least, because some of the elements in the Leuphana semester and also maybe in the complementary studies are in English. So you would have to be able to follow the courses, which is maybe an important information for our international students. So there is English everywhere here. So even the Germans have to speak it. So German top majors, German proficiency. So if you are not German and German's not your mother tongue, you have to prove your German, of course, in order to, and this is this is what we accept in terms of German. So if you say, oh, I'm so encouraged, I want to do my studies in German, I'm very, very confident that I can do it, this is what you have to bring. At least C1, or maybe in some cases C2, which is a high level of German, I would say. So if you're not as confident, you may stick with English, which is not a problem. But if you want to study an English top major, you also have to prove to us that you can speak English, which is also true for Germans. And there is the list what you can do here. So it can be proved by high school grades at the time of the application, minimum of 11 points in English as an exam subject in upper secondary school, which holds for this is the German, the German grades. So at least 11 points you need. As for other high school diplomas with a final grade of at least 0.2 in English, which is the German system. So it needs to be on English need to be on a good level. And there is also some options to have a test, like the TOEFL test, for example, or the Cambridge certificate and others. There's a whole list on our website, also here, what we do accept and what not. So here you go. There you go. This is what we accept. But if you are from an English-speaking country, for example, the US or Canada, and you went to school in an English-speaking environment, you don't need to do the test, I guess. So, but be sure to check with the website. And this is so when do you apply? So the application is between mid-May, so it starts in like 2 weeks, and until July 15. So this is how you do it. So you check the entrance qualification if it's acquired in Germany, German Abitur or IUDB diploma, then you go directly here. If you are from inside the EU, you will go to you would have your EU citizenship and done your school in the European Union. You can also directly apply here at Leuphana campus on our website. If you are outside the EU, you need to go to Uni Assist. So this is very simple. And in most cases, to be honest, we cannot really assess whether you are eligible to apply because this is very complicated. This is a very complicated business, what kind of school degrees are accepted by Germany, so to say. So it's always best to go to Uni Assist to let this check if you are from a non-EU country. And do it as soon as you can. I know that some of the applications coming from Uni Assist are handed to us later than July 15th, and we still accept that if it's given on time to Uni Assist. So just for you to know. And there is no difference whether you apply at the beginning of the period, like beginning of June or something, or 15th of July. No, 15th of July is over, so you need to apply 14th of July, so to say. But there is no difference. We take in everything. Everyone is checked on the same, according to the same criteria. And after we've received all applicants and applications, the ranking is done, and then we see what we accept and what not. And if we get the Uni Assist application later, it is assessed on the same level, and the person gets a study place or not, like all the others that are in the same place. If someone is, like, for example, if we accept students until grade 1.4 for a certain program, and a 1.4 application is given to us from Uni Assist later, then we would accept that even if there is no place left. We have to, by law. So that's just it. So you can be sure if you apply within the deadline, your application is processed properly.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this is also very important to know. As for the non-EU EEA applicant via Uni Assist, you register via Uni Assist before you apply. After registering, you will be asked to provide information about yourself and your educational background, and this will be included in your application. Then you create an application for us, for Leuphana University. This means you have to search for us at the applicant portal and specify the bachelor's as your desired degree. And you will be then shown the bachelor's degree programs offered by us. And as in Uni Assist, this is also the same as with our system. You can only apply for one program. which means that you can only submit one application to Leuphana. And this is something that is maybe a little bit tricky. So I would definitely see, I would say, yeah, it's a little bit hard to say that the chances are bigger the bigger the program is. So check for the available study seats on the website. But this is also a little bit risky because it may be the wrong choice. It's very hard to say which one to choose in order to have more success or to be more successful than others. This is what I have to say. It's a little bit like a lottery.
Mhm.
So that's what I can say. I'm sorry that I cannot be any more concrete here and say, okay, in the study program, we only have 3 seats, so take the other one. Difficult because I see non-EU students in many different in all programs. So somehow they have to, I mean, they have to have managed to get in, you know. So
It's true.
that's just it. And
Mhm.
what you need to see is Uni Assist charges a processing fee for reviewing your application. So if you don't pay this fee, they don't check your application, and that this is important. So this is a
Mhm.
little bit costly to do that, but it's necessary for us. And there's also a nice video on our website how to apply as a non-EU applicant. It's linked here. But it's on our website. If you see on the website for the college, English speaking, and then there is the admission process. If you click yourself through the chapters that I have here in the slide deck, you will see that. And that's it basically for
Okay, perfect. Do you
from
want to tell us a little bit more about housing, for example, or maybe what do students do on a social level, you know, like in
yeah.
terms of do you offer clubs,
Yeah.
anything like that? Mhm.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I have now prepared a whole some more slides about Leuphana and about the university, as I promised. So this is where it's located. As you
Perfect.
can see, it's in the very north. So here are we. Here is Hamburg. Here is Bremen. Here is Hanover. Here is Berlin. So 280 kilometers for all the ones that are not familiar to the kilometer system. This means about 2.5, 3 hours train ride. So you can do it in one day. And what's even more important from my point of view is that it's not very far to go to the seas, either the North Sea or the Baltic Sea, where you have very beautiful beaches. So there is a direct train connection to Lübeck, where you have a beach and can swim in the Baltic Sea. That's very beautiful. So what we see is, so we're located as a public university in Lüneburg, and we origin back to 1946. This is maybe also important to know. That was later renamed as Leuphana University of Lüneburg in 2007. So as I said, next year, 20th university of the new Leuphana University. And as we have this unique study model that emphasizes interdisciplinary education, maybe also important to know is the number of students, approximately 9,300, and international students, a bit more than 1,000. And the key focus areas are sustainability, management and technology, education, culture, and public affairs. So this is also maybe important to know.
That's great.
So the city is very sweet and tiny. As you can see here, it's 75,000 inhabitants. So it's primarily defined as a student town. Maybe some Lüneburgers would deny that. I don't know. But it has one of the best preserved medieval town centers of Germany, with many original brick Gothic buildings. It's as you can see here from the picture. This city is a postcard. I can tell you, it's so beautiful. It hurts. It's really lovely. It was an important part of the Hanseatic League. If you're more interested in the Lüneburg history, you can also do the online city tour that we have here. It's very lovely. As for the university, we are humanistic, sustainable, and action-oriented. So as you see from the campus that we are very sustainable. It's very green. When you look out at my window, there are a lot of trees here, and at the moment, a lot of construction work because we're trying to make it more friendly and peaceful. So it's very good to know. What's maybe a bit more for the parents important is the ranking. So as a young university, we are highly ranked. So as you can see, number 102 worldwide, where you say, okay, 102 is not very good, but if you see it's among almost over 1,000 universities under 50 years, we're quite high and ranked 5th in Germany. And so it goes on. I don't want to bore you with that. If you're interested, just have a look at it. These are a little bit more rankings, but you asked for, okay, that's the school. We've got a graduate school, professional school. If you're interested in the masters, there's also a lot of master programs. It looks a little bit the same. You can do your dissertation thesis with us. And here is the core, the focus areas of the master's program. As you can see, this is a little bit similar to the bachelor's degrees. There is management, psychology, governance and law, cultural studies and sustainability, and the individual research master, which is the analog program to the individual studies in the bachelor's. So, but it's brand new, so they're very happy that we bought this. But you wanted to know about what students do. So what can students do? So the campus is a place for encounter and exchange. As you can see, the students have places to sit here, and this is not just for the pictures. These chairs in the summer are all over the campus. What we do here is the central building. Of course, this is very unique because it's from an architecture point of view, you can book tours there because it's so unique and everyone wants to see it. But this is not what you were asking. So what can students do? So we have over 160 sports and fitness activities on campus, and also for employees, by the way. So movement arts, relaxation, fitness, equipment training. There's, as you can see here, there's a gym that is on campus. We have a bouldering wall on campus. You can do a lot of sports like water sports and dance, team sports, whatever you want to do. There is a big lawn on campus where they play football, where there's or soccer. It's not American football. I mean, Lüneburg also has an American football team, which is if you're interested in that, they would be very happy to have you. So what else we do have? You have a lot of students initiatives. So there's more than 80 student initiatives that you have here on campus, speakers corners, international students, common campus. This is what we work on Aqua, or this is a company that was founded by students of Leuphana, a water company, and there is some have to do with business, with arts, with I don't know, a lot of. There's even a group that does knitting, and you can do music, which is very interesting for people who do music. There is a choir where you can participate, even if you're not so good at singing. It's a very big choir. If you like singing, you can learn it here. This is very nice. But if you are a better singer, you can do the chamber choir. They are also very cheap, or not cheap, but not so expensive instrumental lessons. I would say it's very affordable, let's say. It's very affordable also for students. This is how it's built. And if you have a band, and if you want to rehearse with that band, there are rooms on campus where you can do that for free. You can just book it. So this is just, music is for us very important, the same as sports. This is why we have a big offer, things that you can do on campus. So we are really a campus university with a big, beautiful campus. So, and what else is on campus? As you can see, there is the international office. We have psychological counseling, accommodation service, social financial service, student counseling, library, working spaces, media information center, where you can also rent out a video podcast studio and stuff like that, and a lot of things. So you can do a lot of things here. There's a career service to help you with your careers, and the writing center that helps you doing the written examinations and everything. So the longer essays and stuff like that. If you're struggling with that, you can go to the writing center. They offer writing nights where all
Wow, that's awesome.
students sit together and write their theses and their essays and whatever they have to produce for the seminars. It's very nice. Does that cover your question?
Yeah, that's perfect. And that's wonderful to hear that you have so much support available for students, honestly. Since I see the accommodation service here, so obviously housing is, well, that's what I'm assuming, is not on campus.
That's true. Being accepted as a student does not mean that you have automatically guaranteed student housing in Lüneburg. So that means to have to go to the free market and see for that. So, but the internationals, the international student support, so the international students office supports you in finding a room or a flat by maintaining and arranging contacts to providers to furnish room or flats. And there are websites where you can find a shared flat, for example, which is very common, a very common thing to do in Germany among students, so that you live with a couple of students in one flat that you share, and you have your own room, but you use the kitchen and the bathroom together. So what's very important is, so 6 tips for your search when you are accepted as a student is start early as you said, because the housing market is quite competitive in Lüneburg. It's a small city and it's a lot of students coming every year. So watch out for scams. Do not respond to ads that seem dubious to you, and do not transfer money to foreign accounts that are outside Germany. So this is very important, and be quick at making a first contact. So when you have questions and when you decide whether that you take the flat or not. So there is no room for waiting. So and what you have to know is that in Germany, unfurnished flats and rooms are often rented out. So consider this option if you will be on the site for longer than 1 year. And it's often because it's a cheap alternative. It's cheaper to rent out an unfurnished flat or room than to rent out a furnished one. And there are also not so many furnished ones available. And getting furniture, you can buy it used or something like that, secondhand. This is all possible and not very cheap. And sometimes you also have it for free. So it's very important, if you have any offer, read the advertisement carefully to find out whether it's furnished or not. And also see for if you don't find anything for a longer term, you may also pick a temporary solution as for the first one to get here and then to find something, because there are web pages where you can find offers. So we try to send out the acceptance letters at the end of July. This is what we do with the first. So this is like, if you see the ranking in front of you, we say, okay, for this program we have 70 places, so we send out 70 acceptance letters. But as students apply for many universities, not everyone accepts that. And after two weeks, they have a 2 weeks period of time to accept their study place. And after they have accepted it, this means they transfer the semester contribution and talk to us about their health insurance and prove their health insurance. And then everything, the deal is sealed, so to say. But usually the acceptance quota by students varies between 70 and 30%. That means if we have a program where only 30% of the first acceptance wave, so to say, accept their study place, we have 70% of the places left, and so we take the next people on the ranking to send out more acceptance letters. So it may be that you get your acceptance at the beginning of September. Just wanted to give you some impressions about what about the living
Oh,
costs.
perfect. Yes.
This may be an interesting thing. So there is this semester contribution that I talked about. So there is no tuition fee. Just to say it very clear, so you don't have to pay a tuition fee, but what you have to pay is a little bit of fee for the student union, for the student body contribution, the contribution to the administrative costs. So, and then it comes out to 450 euros per semester. But this includes a public transportation ticket in Germany, where you can go. And this public transportation ticket allows you to go to any region or city in Germany via the regional train system, and also travel by bus in the cities. So, for example, you can take the regional train ticket to Berlin. It takes 5 hours or something, and then travel in Berlin with the S-Bahn and U-Bahn with that ticket. Or to Hamburg. So you can travel to Hamburg and then travel around, or you can travel to the seas. So this is a little bit a thing. So actually, it's quite a good deal, so to say. So for the living cost, I would say if you eat at the dining hall or the Mensa, as we say here, it's 200 and 230. Health insurance, this is approximately this. Books, clothing, leisures. So, and then rent differs from 320 to 530 euros. I would say that you can also pay more if you have a flat like that, a bigger flat or something like that. Depends a lot on what you find.
I think we covered almost everything. I have a couple more questions. How do you secure, or how do you make sure that students won't go too broad?
This is also something that students have to be aware of, that when they study with us at a certain point in their studies, I would say 4th or 5th semester, they should maybe see what kinds of masters are available for them and what they need to do that, what they need to do in order to get in. So, for example, if you study with us international business and entrepreneurship, and you would like to do a master's in a similar thing in Germany, you would have to see that you have all the technical courses that you would need for that, and all the math that you would need, for example, in Mannheim, or I don't know if you would, you know, sometimes also things change according the study trip. I know a student, for example, who started out with global and environmental science, so with the guest program, and he now decided to do business as for his master's, but he studied something different, so he has to do some more courses in business now in order to get enough credit points to join a business program. This is no problem. We also, if you are, I don't know, if you say, okay, I would like to do 2 bachelor programs, you can also do a double degree if your grades are eligible for that. So I mean, you have obviously need to be a good student. So we say, okay, we trust you in doing this. So this is something that we also offer. So there are a lot of students who do that, actually. 500 or something do this double degree. There's also some advising from the professors and the heads of the programs, of course.
I mean, it's definitely a great opportunity for the right student.
Absolutely.
I mean,
let me say what we also have is these integrated semesters abroad with over more than 100 partner universities worldwide. So if you say, okay, this is Germany is not enough, I would like to see something different in another country in Europe. This is not a problem. And there's also some sponsoring by the Erasmus program, which is a European program to financially support students who go abroad. Or who go to another country, because if you come here from a US perspective, would be go abroad. So this is also possible. And if you're interested to have a double degree with other universities, we also do that. We offer an optional double degree in international business administration with the University of Glasgow, for example, or with the Paris Est Créteil in German and French. So you would have to speak French and German, obviously, in order to do that. So you can study in Paris and in Lüneburg. And there is an optional double degree in the digital media program with the City University of Hong Kong.
Mm.
You got to apply for these options in the second semester or something. And then you leave Lüneburg in the third semester. There's an orientation program for international students with
that might be
German
interesting,
intensive
yes.
language course, campus tour, and everything, where you have a little bit,
Perfect.
yeah.
Okay. Any other slides you want to show us, or should we move to the last slide that I have here for us?
I just can show you my contact, and there is the Bachelor
That's
Info Day,
perfect.
29th of May, if anyone would like to join us here. I didn't put a date on it, but because maybe when this presentation is still available next year or something, then it may not be May 29th, but for 2026, it's May 29th. So, but check
So
out
it's in
on the
May
website.
normally.
Yeah,
That you have.
usually May or beginning of June next year. It will be 11th of June, I think. And but check out for the website at Leuphana College, or you can Google Leuphana College, and then you get to the website, and then you find all the relevant information. You have a lot of options to discover us, even if there are no open days, because there is a lot of information online. You can book or you can join the open hours of the student counseling each week on Thursdays. It's also all on the website, and there's also trial studies. Of course, this only makes sense if you're here in Germany. These are on site, but you can do a lot in order around that. And also join the study skill test. This is also very important.
So if someone does the aptitude test and the result is not so favorable compared to the other academic factors that the student has, well, how would that impact an application? Is that then negative, or
No.
No.
There is
Okay.
no minus points.
Oh,
There is
okay.
no
So it's
minus
always
points.
better to do it
Yeah.
and just see.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All
It
right.
can only add to your ranking
Okay.
place. This is just it. And this
Okay,
is something
perfect.
that is very important to know. There's no minus points. Even if you only get 1 point or two, it'll help to get up in the ranking.
Okay. Okay, perfect. That's good to know. Awesome. Well, should we switch to our last slide? Then
Yes.
This was an amazing presentation, Michaela. Thank you so much. So here's the final slide with the contact details again. So while we have that slide up, I just thought of two more things actually that I wanted to ask you. So I read online that you are recognized, so the university is recognized as the most startup-friendly mid-sized university in Germany. Is there something that we should know about the startup culture? Is that more for master students, or does that already apply for bachelor students?
No, it already applies for bachelor students. So we have this minor of entrepreneurship that you can do. So where you are encouraged to do your own entrepreneurial project or follow it a little bit. And then there is a startup school that you can join anytime. There is some student associations about founding a startup or about being in this kind of startup environment where you have contacts to founders and also to this whole ecosystem in Hamburg and in Berlin. Berlin is not so far away, so it's very, very much, and they have a lot of access point and contact points with regards to entrepreneurship. And this is something that anyone could do from semester 2, or I mean, that basically is now semester 2 because we are in the summer semester. But this kind of stuff is also offered in the winter. Okay. And we also have contact to or support to get funding money for your startup.
Oh, that's great. Wow.
Yeah, so
okay.
there are
Well, this has been
initiatives.
a wonderful conversation here. Thank you so much. This was very, very insightful.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, definitely. So, and that brings us to the end of today's presentation. Again, Michaela, thank you so much for joining us today and for giving us such a clear picture of what makes Leuphana University so unique. And as we saw, for students drawn to a liberal arts-inspired education, Leuphana is a really rare find among public universities in Germany, I would say. So lastly, as a quick reminder, our Global College Spotlight series continues each month. featuring universities from across Europe and beyond. You can revisit today's conversation and explore previous Global College Spotlights anytime on our website or on our YouTube channel. Yeah, and with that, I look forward to welcoming you back next month in May 2026, where we will continue our exploration of universities in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. Until then, thank you for watching. Take care and bye.
Bye bye.